Hello YouTube, hello, and we're back again with another speed lab. It's a little bit later than I normally would upload because EWC was happening. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have know that already, so that's why I didn't upload and record this. But yeah, we're here now. We're gonna do a speed lab about Azucena, and yeah, Azucena I think is a very annoying character. Not only annoying, I think she's a very strong character and a very sleeper character. I don't think people understand how strong she actually is. She's very good. But yeah, let's talk about Azucena. So when it comes to this character, there is a lot to talk about, but as I usually do, we're gonna like do it in segments. So first, let's just talk about some mids. First, that's what we're gonna talk about, like something like down forward 1-4, for example, right? Stuff like that. After mids, we're gonna do lows and tracking moves, and after that, we're gonna do stances, and then after that, we're gonna do heat. And yeah, it's gonna be a long one. Usually, it's a long one. So yeah. So when it comes to her mids, one of her best, the most common mids, I'm pretty sure what you're gonna see is gonna be down forward 1-4. So the thing about down forward 1-4 is that this is a mid high that jails, so you cannot duck this, just like something like Anna's or Nina's down forward 1-2. You cannot duck this. It is -7, right? But it has follow-ups. So the thing about this mid high is that whenever you do block it, you're kinda incentivized to press because of the -7. But you shouldn't press because of this follow-up, let's say, right? So if you do try to press C, you are going to get counter-launched. So what do you do here instead? So down forward 1-4, if you block this, one of the best things to do if you want to play it safe is to sidestep right. Instead of ducking this, let's say you just duck it, right? You can also duck this, that's a high. Instead of doing that, you sidestep to the right, and after you sidestep, you can punish it. And it's important to do that because this also has a mid. So let's say instead of sidestepping, I duck, I might get hit by this mid instead. So this mid is punishable if you do block it, but there's no reason for it to get mixed up by this mid and the high. So you just sidestep and then block. And if you sidestep block, you will avoid the high and block the mid. This will still catch you, but at least you're not gonna get mixed up, right? This is one of the best things that you can do. You just have to make sure to obviously block, because this still catches you, even if you sidewalk. Right? Doesn't matter which side you sidestep. But as I said, the important thing is you're not gonna get mixed by ducking it. Like I'm even gonna demonstrate it. One thing that's, I don't know what's the thing, is that the mid becomes safe sometimes. So you just do this, right? Sidestep into a block. If you mess up, you can get hit by the high, but usually you just have to buffer it. You're also gonna block this, but just make sure to know that this sometimes becomes safe. Normally -9, but yeah, it can become safe. So that's what you do after down forward 1-4 if you want to become play it safe. But remember that Azucena players can just do down forward 1-4 to down forward 1-4. They can just do that. So now you're doing the dance of sidestepping right every time you play down forward 1-4, right? It's a dance now. So yeah, you can basically choose your options. You can sometimes match if you feel like it, but if you want to play safe, as I said, sidestep right is one of the best things to do if you think they're gonna do a follow-up. Okay. So that's about down forward 1-4, more or less. And the thing about down forward 1, this is also important, is that if you do want to step this, you usually want to step it to the left, not to the right. That's why this is strong, by the way. The thing about down forward 1-4 is you're forced to sidestep to the right here, right? And you can't go left. Well, let me just demonstrate it. If you go left here, this is just gonna catch you. You cannot go left, so you're forced to go to the right, this one particular direction. And that's literally the direction down forward 1 will track you, so they can just loop this. Like, they can do it multiple times if you always decide to sidestep right after it. Because you're, stepping right. So, in that regard, it's important, but the weakness of this move is step left. So if they do try to spam it, you step left and, avoid it, punish it. One thing also is that the high sometimes might track you. Maybe, like rarely, sometimes it might track, but usually both of them will whiff and, something like that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, step left, and also in general against Azucena, you step left. In general, you step left. Because one more thing I want to talk about is 2-1. So 2-1 is a little bit similar to the down forward 1-2, down forward 1-4 mind game, because 2-1 also has a high follow-up, right? It doesn't have a mid, but it does have a high follow-up. So let me just explain 2-1. So do 2-1 basically imagine it's Jin's 2-1. You can also sidestep this to the right, just like that. You cannot go left here, right? Step right, punish it. This is a high. It doesn't counter launch or anything, it's not too scary, but if you do want to avoid it, you usually either duck, so you can also duck, just like the other mind game, or step right. You have these two options, right? But just 2-1 is just annoying to deal with in general. It's just like down forward 1. Even though you can step this to the left, so this is step all to the left, right? You can. It's a little bit hard to step to both of them. Sometimes the second one's gonna track you, but step left is usually good. But if you go to the right, the second one will almost always track you. Right? So that's why, as I said, you have to step this character to the left in the neutral anyway. And this also complements that after 2-1s you're stepping right, let's say you're stepping right. They can just do this again, and the second one will just catch you. If you step right and try to punish the 2 on whiff, it's gonna catch you. So you just have to be careful about stuff like that. Okay, so that's about 2-1 more or less. And as I said, if you want to step her, usually sidestep or sidewalk to the left is gonna be the better option. I'm gonna talk about the tracking moves a little bit later, which obviously is a very big problem. But yeah, another mid I want to talk about, this is also pretty common, is forward 3. So forward 3 is a very, very strong mid on Azucena, because there's a lot of range, like, you know, very, very good range. But the one thing that makes this very strong is that you can confirm the high. So that's confirmable. This delay that I did right here, this is the confirm window that you have, basically. And it becomes easier depending on the situation. Like a pure hit confirm might be a little bit hard, but most of the time this will be either a counter hit or just catching people in some situation. So it's gotta be easier to confirm this. So, and you get this guaranteed. I'm pretty sure something's guaranteed here. Maybe, you know, something like that. There we go. That's definitely guaranteed. So that's a 50 damage hit confirm that flips them over and, you know, keeps pressure. So this is super strong. Super, super strong. Now you can duck it, as I said. Not as I said, but it's a high, as you guys can see. You can duck this and punish it. But the problem with ducking it, obviously, is because they won't do the high if they don't confirm it. That's one. That's one problem. The other problem is that there's also a mid here. Like, this exists. That's the other problem. So if you do duck, let's say I duck this, I will get hit by the mid. The mid is punishable, but unless your name is Kazuya, you don't get anything from this. Kazuya does get the 11 frame punish because it's minus 11. But usually every other character is gonna get something like a 10 frame punish, right? Something like that. So yeah, it's minus 11, it's not even that much minus. And the biggest thing about this move, 4-3-4, is that you can also delay this a lot, just like the high. And try to delay this as much as I can. There we go. And if you do press into it, let me try to get countered. There we go. It's a countered launcher. And that delay basically makes it so that you might press into this and get countered. So you have to be very, very careful here. Very, very careful. But now let's talk about another situation which will happen a lot as well. Is forward 3. Whenever forward 3 gets confirmed, let's say on block, like it gets blocked and they don't finish it. Because, you know, they don't want to finish it on block. This will go into stance. This forces stance no matter what. Azucena player does not have a choice to go into stance or not. So always force into stance, -4. So what they can do is if you do, let's say, get out of stance, please. So if I say, let's say you duck the high, you duck, right? Because there's a high here, or just respect it because there's also a mid here and just don't do anything. This on block will mix you up. So something like this will be a mix up. This. Or this into this. Or this into whatever, right? Doesn't matter. This is gonna be a mix up. On block, by the way, not on hit, on block. You block this, you're getting mixed up. Because this is only -4. This is not that much minus for a move like this. Because as I said, you have to worry about the high, you have to worry about the mid, and now I just added another one which you have to worry about the stance. And the stance also has a power purchase option. This is the most common thing. So let me just tell this. Show this. So everyone knows this. So forward 3 on block into that is very common because a lot of people try to either mash here, right? they see the stance and try to mash, get hit, or try to step. And this is just a good option in general that they do. It's very common. The way you can counter this obviously is a high, you can duck it, right? Something like that. Or you can mash something like a 1-1 on the reaction, and then you can duck it. For us, doing something like this is one of the best things you can do, but just have to make sure to do it fast enough so you have the frames to duck it. But yeah, it's a high, you can duck it. You can also mash a little bit, like it's only a 1 jab and then duck it. Just make sure that this is the thing. But if you duck, let's say you duck, you're gonna get mixed. Like there's no way that you're not gonna get mixed if you just hard duck this. Because she has mids here as well, like the 2. Something like this basically, right? Because if I think the tracking move is coming and duck, I get hit by this. It's better to sidestep here sometimes, but this move will also track you because it's a busted move. I'll talk about this move later as well, but this is just busted beyond compare. So no sidestep or ducks or sidesteps or whatever is gonna help you. One of the best things that I said is to do a jab check. Just do a jab and you can avoid the high, just duck the high still. That's one of the best things that you can do. You can also down jab here, but usually jabs are better in this mind game situation. And as I said, this is super strong. Super strong. There's also wall splats, so you have to be very careful. If you do get hit by this, it's not going to be a good day. Alright, so that's about forward 3, another very strong mid. Another one is down forward 3 that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. Because down forward 3 is a very good mid, but you just don't see it that much. But I'll talk about it a little bit, not too much. So down forward 3 is a knee, 17 frame knee. It's pretty damn good when it comes to the damage, 17. But the main thing that this knee has is that it's a counter launcher. There we go. So it's a counter launcher. So they can actually use this as a counter move, and it's also -5. This is a crazy move. It has decent range. You guys can see that it still hits from here, and it has good pushback. Right, -5 with good pushback is a bad combo. Not for Azucena, obviously, for us. So this is a great move. It just gets overshadowed by some other moves, but I just wanted to mention it. I think that flow through is really good. Okay, one more mid I'm gonna talk about is back 3. I know I can also talk about something like this as well. Okay, let's talk about both of them while I'm at it. There's some other ones as well, but I don't want to talk about it too much. So back 3 is a very good mid that some players might use. You can basically think of it as a Mishima forward 4. Kind of similar, a little bit less frames, +2 instead of +4. But it is a heat engager. Right? So this is a heat engager plus frame mid that some players will use, and it forces you to crouch. So whenever you do block this, you have to remember that you have to use a crouching move. For Kazuya, it's while standing 1+2, which is a good option, right? While standing 4, something like that, you have a crouching move here. And whenever you block it, most of the setup players are gonna do something like this, right? Something like that. Or maybe down forward 1 check you, or 2-1, or whatever, right? They are gonna check you or sidestep. Usually that's how it goes. Usually, if you respect it too much, you might be pressure more. But yeah, that's about back 3, more or less. When it comes to the other mid 4, this is a slow mid that some players usually use to get a hit with this. So this is guaranteed on normal hit, by the way, right? That's completely guaranteed. It also doesn't really give anything on counter hit, but the normal hit version is the biggest thing that they use this for. You don't see it too much, like you don't see this much, but it's a good move. Okay, so I think that's about it, more or less, about it for mids outside of tracking moves. So now let's talk about lows. So the low section, this is gonna take a while, because Azucena has a lot of lows. I'm not gonna talk about the stance lows, I'm gonna talk about them when I go into the stance, but even outside of that, she has a lot of lows. So yeah, first let's talk about the most broken one. So this is a busted low. No one will ever argue otherwise unless they're an Azucena player, most likely. So down back 3. This is a busted low. So this move is absolutely bonkers. I'll explain why. So this move is +4, right? It's a +4 move on hit, which is basically the same plus frames as I have on my stature kick, which is a 20 frame low. This is a 16 frame low. Okay, that's already pretty strong, right? So let me just demonstrate the properties that this low has. So this low is a very good tracking move. You guys can tell that I cannot sidewalk this. Either direction. I cannot sidewalk it. Even in the neutral, if you try sidewalking it, you might do it if you get lucky. If you get lucky. Like, I'm gonna try sidestep duck. I still can't avoid it. I'm still blocking it, right? So basically, you can treat this as a tracking low. This is a tracking low. +4, tracking low 16. Pretty good properties already. But that's not it. That's not all. We have like a lot more properties here. Okay, so now this move also has a high extension. So this high extension, if you do block it, is punishable. Important to know, because it's -13. You have to always punish this. And why it's punishable? It's pretty simple. You cannot duck it. This is a jailing low high. You cannot duck this high on hit anyway. You can duck it on block. Let's say you block this in weight. It's duckable, but not on hit. You have to always punish this. -13 or whatever punish you have, just punish it. Right? So the existence of this, by the way, makes it so down back 3, you cannot punish on its own. So if you try to punish this, you are going to get launched. Right? All the things I just mentioned already make this a very damn good low. Pretty damn good. But I'm still not done. So, obviously, you can't punish this now because it's the high existence, you have to wait for it and, you know, and then punish it. Now let's see the down back 3 properties on block, like normal block. And it's -7. So, you guys know that if you want to punish something, usually it has to be 10 or rarely 10 or 11. Usually -11 if you want to punish something. Right? So this is not a punish, and that's why you do not see the punish icon here. But, she cannot block this, because she is back turned. Right? She can't block because she's back turned. But what she can do here is when you block this, she can parry you. They do this. There we go, I forgot the input. Into a parry. So what happens here is whenever you block this, you try to punish it, they parry it. Right? They just parry it. You cannot punish this. This is too slow, so it actually gets punishes the parry, but the normal punishment, you cannot punish this. Some characters have option selects here. For example, a Devil Jin Lost Tank 4-4 will still reach him. I mean, they reach Azucena. It will still reach Azucena, and the second 4 will hit him. So it's an option select punish. Some characters might have something similar. But for Gaz, you do not have anything like that, and you have to guess if they're gonna parry or not. You are just guessing. There's nothing else about it. And not only are you guessing about the low high, so I already mentioned this, right? Because there's a high that exists here. You have to stay ducking here. But you also have to react to this parry. So this is how you punish this, by the way. You duck this, wait, and electric this. This is how you want to punish this anyway. Maximum amount of punishment, or, you know, 4-4-3, whatever, right? But it's better to electric because it's faster, and you can react if they parry and then try it anyway. So this is hard to do. This is very, very complicated to do, but this is what you want to do. If you want some other hard reads, you can also try grab here, right? You can do that. Lost Tank 2 also works, only against the parry. But one of the best things that you do here is just, you know, bait it out. But then the Azucena player, because they're so damn smart, they start mashing buttons after it, or just not do anything after it. So how this is gonna look is after they do down back 3, they just don't do anything. And you're just gonna stand still like this, like an idiot. This is what's gonna happen. Because you can't punish this usually, right? So what's happening here is you either punish this, let's say you punish with this, right? This works, by the way. You have to punish with this if you think they're not gonna parry you, or do the high. You punish with Twin Pistons. Because this doesn't work. That will not work. Twin Pistons is your go-to, while staying 1-2. If they don't parry. If they do parry, you have to do something like that, but if they don't parry, you know, this is how it's gonna look. Because they're waiting for the parry and, you know, nothing's coming out. Usually this is how down back 3 mind games work, and it's very complicated and it's very fucking strong. It's very, very strong. It's insanely good. Because this is a tracking move. I already mentioned this, right? This is a tracking move. And if you respect it, let's say you do respect it, they might even do something as crazy as something like this, even on block. So I block this, I'm waiting for the parry, and now I get hit by the hatchet. Because I'm waiting for the parry. Right? So, yeah, very, very important to know and understand the down back 3 mind games whenever you block it. The one main way you can avoid all of this is to low parry. So this is the one counterplay you will have against this that will almost always work if you do guess the low. That is to low parry this low. Obviously low parrying won't always happen, but if you do low parry it, there's no guessing going on here, right? Obviously. You just do your combo and that's about it. So you have to low parry this low. Okay, that's about this one low. There's like 3 more. Okay, now let's talk about down back 4, which is a little bit on the taper side when it comes to the lows. So down back 4 is a high crushing low that Azucena has. So you can't, you know, jab it, you can't electric it, but it just crushes highs. But it's minus 14 whenever you do duck it, and you can somewhat step it to the left. And you can also step to the right. Yeah, it is not that hard to step, it's more tracked to the left. But as I said, you do want to go left usually anyway. You don't want to go right. Even though you can step this easily to the right, you don't want to go right. But biggest thing about this is that it's minus 14. Like, that's the biggest thing. And the on-counter it doesn't give too much. It is minus 12, but nothing's guaranteed here. Basically, from what I know anyway, nothing's guaranteed. So that's why down back 4, it's not that big of a deal. But the other lows are a big deal. Because something like this, for example, down 3, this is a big deal. So you won't see this that much in the neutral, but when you will see this is when you're dying. So whenever you have low HP and they want to kill you, most likely they'll do either this. To be honest, they can do many moves. They can do this, or another one, which is this. I'm going to talk about this as well. They can do a lot of moves in that situation because they have a lot of options when it comes to those situations. You know, the bullshit situations when you have to guess, even if you block the low. So this is one of them, this. But this is not a simple mind game where, oh, you just have to guess after one time after you block the low, right? No. So what happens here is down 3, if you do block just that, you can't punish it, right? It's minus 14, you can normally punish it. Okay, but I won't be talking about this if it was that simple. Because down 3 has a follow-up, down 3-3. So if you do try to punish it, let's say, you are going to get hit by this. And you will most likely die because you have low HP, right? So you have to guess. As I said, this usually comes out when you have low HP. But okay, let's say you guess this as well. Let's say you guess that this is coming out. And you just wait. You do this and you wait. Oh, you can punish this. Minus 13, right? You can punish it. Not with that, obviously. With whatever. Just punish it. Okay, you guessed this. But I'm still not done. You guess this, you still have to guess. Because they have another follow-up after this. This into the 4. So I have to guess here, here, and here. Because if I try to punish the second hit, I get hit by the third one. So you have to basically guess that either the whole string is coming, a 2 string is coming, or just the low is coming. This is, I think it's basically a 3-way guess, right? You have to guess if they stop on the low, on the second bit, or the third bit. So if you want to punish this fully, you have to punish this, like that. This is what you do. And this is why you'll usually see this at the end. Like at the end of rounds. Because this is so damn hard to predict. Best thing to do here, obviously, is to just wait for the whole thing, but it's still a mix-up, you're guessing. You're just guessing when they stop. And they might just do it multiple times. They just have to do it multiple times. Because they can just do this and then do it again. Let's say you're not dead after the first one, right? Or you block the first one. Let's say you block it. They can just do it again. And you're just gonna stand still like an idiot. Like this. This is how it's gonna look like. You're dead. Because you just guessed the mid is coming. And then come out and just got hit by another low. So, yeah. The I-14 electric check. The thing about that punish also, Andrej, is that, and for everyone on YouTube as well, is that it recovers very, very quickly. So I'm gonna show you guys the recovery if anyone's like a little bit interested. It recovers very quickly. So that is the electric timing that you need to punish it. That right there. If you delay it even slightly, that was not a punish. It recovers very, very quickly. So it's hard to actually punish this. Okay. So that's about the down 3 string anyway. Just have to be ready basically, right? Okay. And let's talk about the other low now. So that's about down 3. Now let's talk about down 4. So down 4, another very, very strong low. So this is a -2 low. And this is also minus, like -3 and -2. But since they're minus, they have like amazing mind games because of that. Because that makes sense, I guess. But yeah, down 4, even though it's -2, this has a very, very good follow-ups. So one is this high, right? the high follow-up. It has the same kind of mind game as the down back 3 into the high, right? Because if you do duck it, you can't punish it. You have to guess if the high is coming out. So duck, wait, and then punish it. Alright, this is how it's gonna look if you do wait for the high and then try to punish it. If you do try to punish it normally, let's say you punish it normally, it won't work, right? I'm gonna show you guys what it is on minus normally, just down 4. It's minus 13, and you can't punish it with twin pistons, right? It's possible. One thing I will mention though is that it's also possible for this to whiff because of the range the move has. If you block it on far away range, it just won't work. But usually twin pistons should be fine. Usually, anyway. Okay, so that's about just down 4. Now let's talk about the high. So the high is plus 3 on hit. It's not that much plus. Even on counter hit, it's plus 3. Let's say you get counter hit. Right, it's plus 3. But the important part to know here is that it's minus 1 on block. That's very important because Azucena players will mash here. They'll 100% mash. They'll either mash a tracking move, a high crush move, they'll mash it here, right? Doesn't matter what they mash. So you have to be ready for this. So that's already decent enough, right? This can be used as a round ender because of that as well. But the problem with this move is that this can be cancelled. I mean, this is one of the problems. There are actually 2 problems with this move. So because this can get cancelled, that means you're going to get mixed up after this. You're expecting the high to come out and you're waiting, right? You're just waiting for the high and now you're going to get mixed up. Or why is she talking? So now you're going to get mixed up by the stance, or this is the most common thing they do. You try to check him and they do a power crush against you, something like that. I was a bit slow there, let me just do that again. There we go. So what they're gonna do is down 4, you try to check like a 1-1, let's say, or a 1-2-4. If you're too slow, the power crush is gonna hit you. Or if you do a generic down 4-1, let's say, right, you're a character with a generic down 4-1. This is just gonna catch you. Best things to do here as a Kazuya player is the 1-1 check. Usually you'll be able to react to this and, punish. But even if you don't, and let's say the power crush activates, maybe try to be slower, you can also duck the power crush. A 1-1 check is one of the best things you do here, but on delay, right? You have to actually react to the stats and then 1-1. One of the best things to do is absolutely that. Just wait and then 1-1. Obviously, she has options to beat that, but it's still one of your best options. Let me just demonstrate what she can do to beat that. It's very simple. She just presses her high crush button. So I wait, 1-1, I get hit. There we go. I wait a little bit, react, 1-1, high crush button, right? And I got launch for it. If I react fast enough, I don't have to worry about it. Let's say I react fast enough with the stance cancel, but usually it's not going to look like that. Usually you're going to be a bit slower and you're going to get hit by this. So they can actually do stuff like that to avoid your jabs. And maybe they can also do a down 3. I'm not quite sure. Let me just try it. I haven't tested this. This. Because this also has high crushing. So this, react 1-1. Yep. They can also do this. So they don't have to commit to the 1+2. They can also just press the plus rank mid. And if you're super unlucky, you get countered launched into 100 damage. So, yeah, as I said, Azucena does have options here to actually crush your jabs. And the other thing she can also do is just nothing. By nothing, I mean just stay in stance. Because if she stays in stance and you try to check with a jab, it's an automatic parry. If you want 1, she can punish you. This is also one of the reasons you don't down jab here, by the way. If you down jab, she will automatically parry you. So, yeah, be very careful about this. Okay, that's about the stance here. I'm going to talk about the stance options a little bit later as well. But, yeah, this is a big problem, but I'm not done here. One more thing. This can also cancel into a mid. Let's say you think a high is coming. Right? You're ducking the high, you're going to get hit by the mid. Okay, it's a mix up. Whatever, right? Okay, whatever. You say whatever. But now let's see what we can do against this specific thing. Very, very specific down 4 into the mid. What can you do against it? Let me just show you guys, right? Let's try stepping. No. Other side. No. So you can't step it. It's a tracking move. Is it punishable? Let's check. -8. No. You can't. Okay, maybe you can interrupt it. Let me try jabbing it. No. So, what you can do against this is almost nothing. That's what you can do against this. It's also countered launches. So, You can't step, I already showed. You can't mash, counter with launch. You can't punish, it's safe. What you can do, there's one thing that you can do. Tekken 8 style. You power crush. That's the one thing that you can do against this. You power crush through after that low. There's nothing else that you can do. You have to power crush. And this is an instant power crush, by the way. If you wait a little bit and then power crush, you're gonna get hit. You can't try to, just react to this. No. You're most likely gonna get countered if you try to react a little bit slow. So you basically have to commit to a power crush after down 4. Which means that this into another one, or this into sidesteps, a lot of things are gonna beat you. A lot of stuff is gonna beat you. So yeah, no punch parry. Punch parry also works, but I would still advise power crush more. And not everyone has a punch parry. That's like the main reason I didn't mention the punch parry. Not everyone has one, and everyone has a power crush. But if you have a parry, you can also parry it. Like someone like Jin, for example, will be able to parry that, and I think the Jin matchup will be a little bit better for Jin, obviously. So yeah, can I throw? You mean against Azucena? No, you can't jab here either. You can't do anything here unless you power crush. If I try to throw, let me just press the throw. I get countered. So this is the punch parry. I'm just demonstrating because someone asked, right? You can't punch parry. But this is super busted. Super busted mid. This is basically the same tier of busted as Stance 2 is. Basically. I think they look the same as well, don't they? Very similar mids. But yeah, very strong. That's about down 4, more or less. I did talk about like 10 different things because of the mind games, but that's about down 4. Okay, now let's talk about the full crouch lows and the full crouch moves in general, like crouch moves. So in full crouch, she has 2 additional lows. The full crouch down forward 4, which is new, and the full crouch down forward 3. So the full crouch down forward 3, it's a long range move, right? Decent range. Pretty decent. Pretty damn good as well, because it's +3. And on block, it's -13. For Gauss, it's good, because you can TP it, unless it's something like this, then you can't. But usually you can, right? Usually you'll be able to twin piston this and you will get a launch. So that's good. Unless that was the Azucena player actually, spaced it correctly for TP to whiff. That's good. Really good for you, anyway. But why is this move so good? So it's +3, which basically, not only +3, it also forces you crouching. I'm pretty sure. I'm checking. Let me just check. Yep, forces crouch, right? So, which means that Azucena gets a very easy access to a wall standing 1 here. Both of you are crouching here, right? If I mash, the wall standing 1 will counter at you. So you have to be very careful of this. You can avoid this if you sidestep to the left. This is the main thing you do against this very particular setup. But it's sometimes very hard to sidestep, depending on how you get hit, basically. If you're very close, you can't step it. By the way, I'm talking about for Gauss, obviously, right? For other characters, maybe you can step it a little bit more consistently. But you have to sidewalk left if you want to consistently avoid it with Kazu. Just sidewalk, try to punish it. But this is only for this one particular setup. The wall standing 1 can be very hard to sidestep, depending on the situation. But in this particular situation, you can't step it. Obviously, she can do many other stuff here as well, like this into another one. Or this into the other full crouch low. She can do a lot of stuff here. So, yeah, be careful. Be very careful here. Especially if you want to press something, obviously. Pressing is always a bad option because you can bait out the 1 sometimes and sidestep launch it. But yeah, just be careful because they can also just do a wall standing 4 to be safe as well. And I think, let me just showcase this setup as well. If they do a wall standing 4 here, you can't step this. Right? You just can't do anything about this. Even though it's +3. Like, +3 shouldn't really be that big a deal, right? But it is. In Tekken 8, some characters, it's a very big deal. Well, some characters like us, +5 doesn't exist for me. But for +3, the wall standing 4, it just tracks. You can't do anything about the wall standing 4. Right? Okay. So, that's about that situation, more or less. There's a lot of stuff that can happen, but as I said, I'm not gonna go too much about this kind of stuff. Just some simple stuff. Okay, now let's talk about the other low. This one. So this is a low, decent range, +5. Goes in the stance. So on block, it is -15. You can actually launch it, but for Gauss, it's actually pretty bad because you're still forced to TP it. The minus 15 usually is very, very bad for Kazuya because he usually wants to wall stank 2, which is, you know, 60. But you have to TP this as well, just like the other full crouch low. It's not that bad, TP is good, but yeah, unfortunate because wall stank 2 doesn't work. Okay, that's about block. One more thing about this move is that whenever you do see it coming, usually it's gonna be very hard to sidestep this. Let's say you try to step, right? Usually this will track you. I don't think it has any tracking particles, but yeah, it's very, very difficult to step. It's usually you just have to duck, usually. But that, I guess that's why it's launch punishable, right? Minus 15. Now let's talk about the hit property on this. So whenever Azucena hits you with this, she gets a +5 situation in stance. And this situation is very similar to this. Very, very similar. You see that +4 there, right? Or this, when it's +3. This is a very, very similar situation. So these 3 moves, let me just transition into the stance moves, because, you know, they're important, are very, very similar. Very similar, because of this being +3, this being +4, and this being +5. +5 in stance, right? And these mind games are slightly different. They are slightly different. So I will explain them. Before I explain them, I'll just mention one more move, which is wall standing 1. I did slightly mention it, but yeah, wall standing 1 is a -8 13 frame move, which is also very, very strong, right? And they will use this as a counter launcher. So whenever this gets a counter hit, it is a counter launch into whatever combo. I don't know it's the combos, right? But yeah, they can do whatever here into, I don't know, a combo, into a wall. It's gonna deal a lot of damage, so you have to be careful. The main thing you do about something like this, the main thing anyway, is to try to step it to the left. But I've said this before, that some situations, like for example that one, it's a little bit harder to sidestep this. But sometimes it will be a little bit more doable. But if you do want to step it, you either can also backdash it or sidestep like. Usually that's the main weakness of this, but you have to be very careful. Just have to be very, very careful. Because if you, let's say, force a duck like to a 4-4-3 on Kazuya, they might throw this out. And you have to like expect it. Either backdash away and punish it, or try to sidestep it if it is sidesteppable in that situation. As I said, the sidestep varies depending on the situation. You have to be a little bit careful. But yeah, this is a very strong move. Safe, 13 frame counter launcher. Be wary of that. Okay, now we can go into stances. And the stances are a doozy. They're a big doozy. So when it comes to these stance situations, so this one on block, right? This one, and this one. These are the 3 most common ones that you're gonna see outside of heat. In heat, you'll see a couple more. But yeah, these are the most common ones. So what you have to do here, let me just be a little bit quick about this, is after while running 3-2, after you block this, she has a few options. So the best option that she has is this right here, the 2. That's the stance 2. And the stance 2, let me just showcase this. What does this do? So on block, you guys can already see it's safe, right? -8. You can't step it to the left, and you can't step it to the right. So you can't do anything about this in this particular situation when it comes to movement. But that's like Tekken 8 basically, right? You can't move in this game. So what you can do against this is mash a jab. One of the best things you do here is 100% this. Either a 1-1-2, no 1-1 confirmed 2, or a down jab. Annoy Azucena. You have to annoy her, because if they do what they want, they just press the 2, it's gonna be too much of a disadvantage for you. Because the 2, what the 2 does, it stops you from stepping, as I already said, because it tracks you. It stops you from pressing anything slow, because it's fast enough, unless you press a jab, as I already said. And it also works as a mid mix-up, because Azucena has a hell sweep from there. So the hell sweep here is down 4, this right here. And the hell sweep, you know, it hurts. It's 32 damage. It will hurt. And she, not only a hell sweep, she doesn't only have a hell sweep, but also has another low mix-up, which is this, not that. This, right here. Right, this low. So when it comes to hell sweep, it's pretty obvious. Biggest thing follow. So when it comes to hell sweep, it's pretty obvious. You just have to duck it, right? You can't really do much about it. The hell sweep also tracks, by the way, so let me demonstrate that way. This right here. I did not record. So if you try to step, it just won't work. It does not work. So this is a tracking hell sweep after the while running move. Unless maybe if you play another character, maybe you'll avoid it with sidestep right, maybe. I'm not quite sure, right? I don't really lab with other characters that much, but you guys can check it out with your own characters. But this is a tracking hell sweep, more or less. You cannot step this. It's gonna be a pure mix-up with the two, more or less. There's like some frame differences, but more or less it's a mix-up, right? Now, since the hell sweep exists, we already established there's a mix-up, but there's another mix-up, which is the 3. Now let's talk about the 3. So you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys remember when I was talking about down back 3, about how strong of a move this is because it's safe, right? It's a safe low because you can parry after it. They also has a follow-up. Now that move, this stance 3, is almost exactly the same. Almost exactly the same. So instead of the down back 3-4, you know, the high follow-up, this low is a mid follow-up, this one. Which is also only -10. So whenever you block this, let's say you block it, right? It says -9. Most of you guys already know what it means because I explained down back 3 later. So you have to punish it with twin pistons. This is how you punish this. Normally anyway. Normally this is how you punish this. They can't block because they are back turned. But because of the mid, this right here, you can't consistently do that. You're gonna get hit, right? Or if you just get hit normally as well, that's normal property by the way, I just want to demonstrate that. You're gonna get knocked down. So what you're forced to do here is wait for the mid. Let's say something like this happens, you wait, and it's -10. So 1-1-2. You guys might think that, oh, she's back turned, do something else, maybe 1-4-3. She's not back turned. She is not. She turns around. She just looks like she's back turned. So you have to do a 10 frame punish. Only -10, already very, very strong, right? Very, very strong. Okay. And just like down back 3, that's not the only thing that this has. The other thing that this has is after this, if you try to punish, she can also parry. Say hello, man. So this is basically another down back 3 from stance. You can just treat it just like another down back 3 with a mid follow-up instead of a high, with the exact same mind games. More or less exact same mind games. So when I said, explained how to deal with down back 3, you know, you bait this out, electric it, let's say, right? Or you wall standing 2 here. Okay, never mind, wall standing 2 doesn't work here. You just bait it out, right? That's usually what you do. You block this, you wait, try to punish it. Okay. So, speed lap? Yeah, speed lap. So this is basically another down back 3, this move, which is very strong, obviously, right? And whenever this hits, +2. So you have to like expect the back turn mix-ups. I'm gonna talk about back turn in a little bit, but not for now. Let's finish this normal stance. So this, as I already explained, forces you to jab there, and or down jab. And she also has a lot of options when it comes to dealing with jabs or down jabs. I already showed 2 options against jabs, which is this, not that. I mean, I think that will also work against jabs, which is this jab crush, right? And this. So let me just demonstrate it again. So if I try to 1-1 here, there we go. I get counter launched, right? As I said, it's still good to do, especially something like a down jab, but it's very risky to do a 1-1. Usually what you want to do here is just a jab, because you don't counter it, or down jab. Usually. Is this gonna be on YouTube? Yes. It is. So yeah, down jab is gonna be one of your best options here, because, you know, she won't be able to do too much against it unless they sidestep and punish it, stay in stance and punish it, or orbital, which they also can do, which I don't know why, but yeah, they can. So let me just demonstrate that. They can just do this and do this, right? So they have counters. Obviously they have counters because, you know, they need to have counters for everything. So yeah, you have to be very, very careful here. Very careful. But if you want to annoy them, do down jabs and jabs. Force them to actually counterplay the down jabs and jabs. And if you do force them, you'll get annoyed a little bit. Maybe you'll get the advantage because of that. Because, as I said, you don't want to keep guessing. Because if you do nothing, you are going to keep guessing. You're going to guess the hell sweep, or the safe low, or the heat engager that's safe and tracking, or the -14 launcher, or the plus frame mid. You're guessing, basically. Right, so the down jab is amazing, and jab, because you know it forces mind games. The other thing you can also do is power crush, unless they do lows, obviously. You can also power crush. Power crush also works decently fine. Although power crush is also risky. It is risky. Because if they just sidestep after it, you're gonna get launched. Okay, now let's talk about the other situations. Okay, let's talk about the other situations. So the other situations with something like this, for example, this, and this, you guys notice that the plus frames are a little bit different. So if this is -3, mine's +3. Usually that's +3. What was the +2? Ah, it was +2 because I didn't go in stats. +3. So this is +4. And this is +5. So what does this mean? This means that your down jab and jab is not a good option anymore. That's what it means. Also, the Devilgen, whatever he said, he's also correct about that. That this, you can actually punish with a down jab. You can actually punish this with a down jab. Like that. This is possible. He is correct with that. It's just that if you punish that with a down jab, you basically get nothing out of it, right? It's like almost nothing. The reward is very, very low. Very low. So you have to be very careful. And if you down jab it, let's say you down jab it, you're still getting mixed up by the mid. The mid is still gonna mix you up no matter what. So, yeah, that's why I say one of the best options is to do nothing. Because if you do nothing here, you punish this and try to react to the parry and punish that as well. But yeah, whatever he said is absolutely correct. You can, if they do parry or just the low, yeah, you can't do that. Okay, now let's talk about this. As I said, because of the 1 frame difference, after something like this, jabbing is not good of an idea anymore. Because the 2, which you would beat in the +3 situation, you don't beat anymore. Now you get dealt a lot of damage. If you try to down jab or jab. So you can't do that. And you still can't step, by the way, right? You can't step. You can't do anything about this. What you can do is, one, punch parry. Or power push. So one of your best options here is not punch parry. If you have an everything parry, maybe like someone like Jin, maybe that's gonna be okay, but I would still advise something like a power push, because you're gonna beat a lot of the mid and high options as well, instead of like relying on a punch or a kick or a a fast move, right? So power crush will be your best option here if you actually want to, make Azucena players think a little bit. But the power crush loses to the throw, loses to the lows, and it loses to a sidestep. Not sidestep, they can't sidestep here, but loses to a block. So, yeah. Just have to throw it out sometimes. So if they just block, they just block and you get punished. You look like an idiot now, right? So, yeah. Gotta be careful. Throw out the power crush sometimes. You get mixed, but it's fine. You just have to guess. It's just a pure guess. Because it's 2D, right? You can't sidestep, as I said, because of the 2. And some other lows will also just track you, so it just doesn't really... Makes no sense to step there. It really doesn't make much sense. It's exactly the same situation here, by the way. Exactly the same. The big difference with this is that the jab will not trade. You'll just lose. So let me just demonstrate that as well. So these 3 have very similar mind games because of the frames and the stance transition. But you just have to remember. You do have to remember that after the wall running 3-2 you can jab, and after the other 2 you cannot jab. Basically, right? It's basically like that. You can power crush after all of these and it's fine. And I really hate and despise that this game forces power crushes so much. I really don't like power crushes, but the game forces you to use them if you want to actually get out of pressure. You have to, you're just forced to use them. Power crush or heat burst, right? Both of them are power crushes. You can also rage art, but yeah, do it in your own peril, basically. Alright, that's about these moves and the stance in general. I didn't cover all of the stance options, but yeah, that's about it. One thing I have to mention though about the stance is this move. So this move is important to cover, because this move is a plus frame mid and sometimes you will block. I mentioned it when I was talking about high crushing moves like this, right? This is a high crushing move. But this is also a plus 2. So it doesn't force crouch or anything. You can normally jab. But what this does is it forces Azucena players to crouch. I'm pretty sure. Let me just check, just so I remember correctly. Right? So Azucena player after this will be crouching, which means a full crouch move is gonna come out. The most common one is gonna be something like... Wrong move. It's gonna be something like the wall standing 1. This is gonna be one of the most common ones. Because let's say you block this, you try to step, doesn't work, right? So I talked about this move already, that some situations you just can't step it. This is one of those situations. You cannot step this. You can mash, but you can't mash a high. Maybe it's a Azucena jab problem, but you can't mash a high because it can sometimes crush jabs. You have to down jab this. As a Azucena player, basically, you have to down jab this. You have to get out of situations. It's me, thank you for follow. So very important here that you press a 10 framer that actually works. You can lab it yourself what works and what doesn't. For example, Azucena jab is way too bad, so it doesn't work. Bad jab, or maybe all jabs doesn't work, I'm not quite sure. But you can down jab here or do something good with a decent hitbox, because what you can't do is sidestep this. You can also power crush, right? Power crush is the detonate answer to everything. You can also punch parry this, maybe, if you time it correctly. There we go. But yeah, power crush is like the answer to everything, basically. I think all jabs whiff? Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't exactly remember. But as you guys saw, I know Kazu's jab whiffs. So, yeah. Don't try stepping that. If you press something too slow, you're also going to get counter launched. And if you respect it, so let's say you respect it, right? Something like this is gonna happen. Because you respect it, let's say you try to step. As I already talked about this low, this is a tracking low. This is a tracking low. So, yeah. That's why something like a down jab is a good option. That's why down jab is so useful, because you'll stop the pressure and you'll stop the check as well. What you won't stop is a wall standing 4, because it's too fast. So something like this into wall standing 4, you will not be able to stop this in any way, in any situation. This down jab doesn't work, right? Let me try to step this. It doesn't work. I get stepped. I mean, I get hit. Other direction doesn't work. So you cannot do anything about this. The only thing you can do, and you guessed it, yes, you can power crush it. But the power crush, funnily enough, can be blocked. Funnily enough. So, look at this. Unless you have a faster power crush, they can block it. Right? They can block it. So this is just, I don't know, they have a lot of options for almost everything. Like almost everything, but their options also cover everything. It's just, it's too much basically. Like this wall standing 4, as I already talked about. This wall standing 4 literally covers everything that you can do. You can't power crush begin the game block unless you have a faster power crush. Maybe, I'm not quite sure, right? Mine's a 20 framer. It's not that slow, but it's not that fast either. You can't check this. You can't do anything. I guess maybe you can rage art it. Maybe. So, yeah, good luck with the situation, I guess, after the counter launching +2 mid and high crushes. So that's why I want to mention them. Yeah, Spam, I agree. I think this is a very sleeper character. I'm not sure top 10, I still have to think about it, but very sleeper. Because the more I lab this character for the speed lab that I'm recording right now, by the way, is, yeah, the more I'm convinced that she's kind of broken. Okay, that's about that, more or less. Now I want to talk about the back turn. I didn't talk about the back turn yet, right? So this stance, I talked about it a little bit, not too much. I don't want to, take too much time. I already did take a lot of time. So let's talk about back turn. So when it comes to back turn, the back turn mix-ups are usually after something like down back 3. Like these are like one of the most common situations for back turn anyway. You get hit by down back 3, you're getting mixed up, right? One of the more common ones anyway. So after down back 3, and let's just see the options. The more common option is either the 2 or the 1+2. These two are the common ones, especially the 1+2. For me personally, I had to have a trouble differentiating these two. So this is punishable, -11. But sometimes I don't punish this because I have a little bit of, I can't differentiate these two too much, they look kind of similar. But this is punishable. If you do block this, you have to punish this. But one thing you can't do here, let me just demonstrate this, right? You cannot mash. So this they use as a frame trap. Also, you cannot step here to the left, and you cannot step here to the right. You can't do anything about this when it comes to movement. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys who are watching this vid have seen a pattern that you cannot move against this character. Like the pattern is, you can't move. 3D game, no. It's a 2D game now because Azucena is standing against you. So you cannot move against this. You just can't do it. What you want to do, at least, right, is block it and punish it. At least it's punishable. The other moves I mentioned were not punishable, but at least this one is punishable. But as I said, this move really forces the 2D game. You can't move because of this. Now let's talk about the other mid. The 2 option. So the 2 option is something that you can actually step. So what I would recommend doing here, one of the best things, the sidestep right block. It's a little bit hard to do, but you will be able to block the punishable mid and also avoid this. That's one of the best things that you can do. Sidewalk? No, you can't. You cannot. So against this, you can jab, you actually have frames here, right? You can even magic 4, let's say. You do have frames. But it's risky to do because of this frame trap I showed everyone before. So sidestep right block will actually avoid something like this. And also block this. Right? So that's why this is good. I just messed up the block. But as I said, it's not easy to do. You have to do it very fast. You have to react to this whiffing, punish it, let's say, and react to this blocking and punish it. It's the mini option select for these 2 options. As I said, these are the most common ones, right? But I don't think this will be doable in actual tournaments because it's gonna be hard to do. You have to buffer the sidestep, you have to block very quickly. A lot of stuff, basically, that you have to do, and more or less, you're gonna block the 2. Like, this is gonna get blocked more than not. This right here, which is a safe mid. And the safe mid, this mid, let me just showcase the hit, is +3, right? But this +3 becomes this right here. You might think, oh, it's +3, it's nothing. But yeah, no. It's 38 damage. The safe mid, by the way. Knockdown 38 damage. So yeah, you have to be very careful about this. You really have to be careful. Because you're gonna get mixed up by a hatchet kick here. This right here. So the hatchet kick, you can try to react to this because it has a very particular animation. But as I always say, this kind of stuff is not reliable when it comes to tournament play. Or even online, unless it's a very good connection, or playing offline PC. If you're playing offline PC or playing like, I don't know, 30, 60 ms, maybe you can react to it, right? Sometimes you can do it anyway as well because of the animation, but actual PlayStation, again, not reliable. So you're gonna get mixed up. This and this, it's gonna mix you up. So you have to be very, very careful about this kind of stuff. Because Hatches is the low mix-up, this is the mid mix-up, this is their frame check, not that. The 1+2. This. It's basically that simple, and that will sometimes try to check you with jabs as well, if they power crush too much. Let's say every time you down back 3 you power crush, let's just say you do that, right? They might check you with a 1-2. This is their anti-power crush button, because of course they need the anti-power crush button. So you have to worry about this as well. When it comes to this basically loops back turn to mix-ups. This one right here. So what's gonna happen here is down back 3 into the 1. If you try to power crush, you're gonna get hit. Just want to demonstrate that you cannot power crush this. Obviously, if you jab, you're gonna get countered as well. Also, you can step this, but I already demonstrated that sidestepping is not the best option. Unless you do the mini sidestep right into a block that I mentioned, it's usually not worth it. And I already said that this is very hard to actually do in a real match. Obviously, right? Very hard to do. You have to react very quickly to actually manage to do this. It's good to do, but very hard to do. Not really realistic, per se. But, yeah, whenever you do block the high, as I already said, it kind of loops the back turn mix-up, because there's a high, double high here. So you want to duck the double high, right? Obviously, you want to duck it. But there's also a mid. There's also a mid. So, let's just see these options, right? So the high mid is basically a mix up to the double high, and it is punishable. -11, just like the forward 3, very simply. I think this -11 is a crime, by the way. How much is the high? Yeah, I'll demonstrate. So this is -1. So if you do block this, it is -1. Right? This is very, very important. No, you can't really mash here. But if you block just the 1, let's say you block just the 1, it's +2. So these two situations are, it's kind of crazy, right? Because the double high is -1 with pushback, which means you can't really get anything, and just the high is +2. This is why I said that it loops back turn to mix-ups. Basically, what you can do is this. right? This is a loop. And this is a frame trap. Was I late? Maybe I was late. That's supposed to be a frame trap. Yeah, there you go. You can't do anything about this, right? You can't jab or anything. What you can do, I think one of the best options here is to maybe down jab. But the mid's gonna counter launch you if you down jab, so... yeah, I guess risk it. I guess you can risk it if you want to. But... I said this before, this is not that common of an option. Usually, not that common of an option. Most common options, the 1+2, and the hatchet. But sometimes you will see this because they just do the one hit and then maybe mash something. Maybe, right? Because it's +2. No one expects it to be +2. Why is it +2? But, yeah, it's plus, so you have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. Also, I almost forgot to mention this. I think this is Season 2, right? This high transitions into a stance. Not enough people use this. I think Azucena players will figure it out. I think some of them already are using it. That if you do duck the high, there's a stance cancel here. Which means you're gonna get mixed up in the stance, and I already covered the stance, right? I already covered. I think one of the most common options here is gonna be something like this. Because you duck, maybe you try to punish, or press, you get hit. Right? So, yeah, you have to worry about that as well. Stats cancel. Not only the high, double high, not only the high being +2, not only the high mid, but also the high being cancelable into a stance. Okay, that's about the back turn, more or less, right? Oh my god, this is taking a long time. But the speed labs usually take a long time. These characters have way too much. Okay, I think I'm not forgetting anything in the neutral anyway, outside of heat. Back turn, the normal stance, full crouch, lows, and some of the mids and some high checks I already talked about. One thing, I almost forgot about this. I forgot about neutral tracking tools. Almost forgot. I can't believe I almost forgot. Okay, so this is a very important section as well, because this is one of the most broken moves in the game, in my opinion. Well, not in the game, but of Azucena's. So let's talk about a little bit of a less broken move. This is pretty good, but not that broken. So back 2 is a tracking option that Azucena players have. It's a +2 tracking move, right? It knocks down a normal hit, and on counter it doesn't really do anything. So it's a normal move basically, right? Doesn't do much outside of block property, which is +2. +2 is good, especially at the wall because it's don't have pushback. It's fine. Right, I'm gonna talk about this move again later, but yeah, this is the one tracking move. But now let's talk about the problematic tracking move, which is the busted one. And it's forward 4, this move right here. So this move has a very good range, right? Very, very good range. It's like 2.3-ish, 2.4-ish, something like that, maybe even 2.5. Yeah, something like that. So very good range. You won't be able to whiff it much, like unless you're really messing up, you won't be able to whiff it too much. This is very good range. But why is this such a problematic move? So let me explain this. So forward 4 is a follow-up, forward 4-4. So this is a mid-high, it's a hit engager on normal hit. Natural combo. Right? You can't delay it or anything, you just have to throw it out. And it's 37 damage. Okay. And you might see this, oh well, you just duck it, right? Let's say you predict it and you duck it, right? So usually that would be the correct answer to something like this. You duck it and launch it. Because, you know, they were wrong on them predicting that you sidestepped, they were wrong about it, so you punish them for it. It's not that simple. Why? The main reason is because this is cancelable to 2 moves. This 3 and this 2. So these 2 are cancels for the forward 4-4. I was starting to follow. And outside of these cancels, she also has the option to cancel it into a back turn just by holding back. Now, how does this work? It's very simple. Azucena players that know a little bit about Azucena, even a little bit, know this. That the forward 4 is confirmable, and they do this a lot. What they do, is very simple, is that if this hits, they finish it. If this gets blocked, they press 3, or they press 2. They might press back as well, but usually it's either 2 or 3. So they confirm this, and make it so that you will never be able to duck it. That's how they do it, right? If it hits, they just finish it normally. Oh, it hit. I don't need to, do it. If it doesn't, they just press the 3 button. And they do the mid. Or they press the 2 button. And they do the high. Right? This is how it works. They try to confirm this. They don't always succeed, obviously. But it is confirmable, and it's not that hard to do, because you just press the 3 button. Most confirms, what you have to do is press another button. Right? Like another confirmable button. To finish the string instead. But what you do here is a little bit different. When you're not confirming a hit, it's a little bit different, basically, right? It's like not a normal hit confirm. You're basically changing up and switching up with a 3 at the end, instead of like actually hit confirming something. It's a little bit of a different than a normal hit confirm, but it's basically a hit confirm or a block confirm, right? Something like that. But yeah, forward 4 is very strong. Very, very strong. Because of this. And what this means is that every time you block this, they will not do the high. So even though you're ducking it. Let's say you're ducking it, right? You blocked it and you're ducking it. They won't do the high because you blocked it. Which means if you duck, you're eating this mid, which is safe. This is safe. Or you're eating the high, this high. Right? Which is plus. It's +1 for Azucena. So this is one of the biggest problems when it comes to this forward 4. It's because Azucena doesn't actually get punished for her wrong reads. She was wrong about me sidestepping. Let's say I didn't sidestep. She was wrong, but she didn't get punished. I think she even got rewarded for the 2 because she's plus. Or if you try to punish this, you might get counter launched with either the 2 or the 3. Because this is a counter launcher. This. Let's say you duck into instant punish because you're taking a high sky. Duck, try to punish it. Nope. Right? Won't happen. Get counter launched. And this will deal a lot of damage. You might say it's an instant tornado, it won't deal that much. But it's Tekken 8. Instant tornadoes don't matter. They still deal as much as normal combos, usually. They still do as much. Maybe a little bit less, but basically it's the same. So, now how do you deal with this? How do you deal with this? One of the best ways to deal with this, in my opinion, is to do a fuzzy. If you do a fuzzy here, you will block the high and the mid, and if the high comes out, let's say the high comes out, right? If you want to stay super safe, this is what you do. You do a mini fuzzy, duck the high, and then punish it. You won't be able to launch, but you'll get the punish at least, right? For me, back 1-2 is very comfortable because I'm holding back anyway, I just back 1-2. You can also do other stuff like on a down back 1, right? Doesn't matter. If you're super feeling it, you can also electric, but you can't confirm it then. So I will not recommend it. Back 1-2 is your go-to. Then it's really good because you don't risk too much. You don't really risk too much. Right? So it's very, very good to do. The other thing you can also do, Silver just mentioned it, is down jab. Down jabbing is a very good thing to do here because you don't get hit by the high. 1, right? So every time you block forward 4. And you avoid any kind of follow-ups. This will just mess them up. In general, it will mess them up. And if they go back turned, which I also said is another option, they will also get hit by this. Right? They all obviously have an option to deal with this, which is just forward 4 into low parry. If you down jab a lot, they can just, do something like that. There you go, that. But down jab is a good option to just stop any kind of mind games and just say, no, stop. Don't mind game me when you're wrong. Do not do that. So down jab is a great option to beat all of the options, but it has very little reward. Very little reward. That's the main problem on down jab. If you want higher reward, you either fuzzy, which is the safest thing to do if you want decent reward for the high anyway, and you also go back to neutral because you're blocking the high and the mid. But if you want like actual very high reward, just like Saab just said, you can down forward 2, but only if you're predicting the cancels. So if they cancel, down forward 2 is one of the highest reward things that you can do. This right here. Into whatever, right? You get the counter it into a counter launch. Don't drop it with the perfect electric like I'm doing right now. Let me just get 1. But this is how it works, basically, right? If they do the cancel with the 3, let's get countered. Let me demonstrate the cancel with the 2 as well. But the one thing is you have to mash. You can't react. You have to 100% mash it down forward 2 here. There's no other way to do this. If you try to react, you're gonna get hit. So mash down forward 2 and you will get high reward. If you want to less risk, obviously this is risky because let's say you mash down forward 2 after forward 4, you're gonna get hit by the high, obviously, right? So down forward 2 is great to do here as chaos. You can also do down forward 1-4, but less rewarded because counter it, it doesn't do anything. If you're playing any other character, what you want to do here, in the same kind of situation, is you either mash your down forward 2, which is usually going to be your generic down forward 2, right? But any normal hit launcher is going to work here. Preferably safe, which is generic down forward 2, right? Preferably safe. If you have a safe launching down forward 2, that's what you want to do. If you don't, you can hop kick or do a no -12 down forward 2, right? The reason I say it has to be safe is because it's a little bit better, because at least they won't be able to read it with forward 4 into a block, right? Something like that. And it's better to do a normal hit launcher, because as I already mentioned, she can also just go into this. Right? She can also just do this. So the down forward 2 won't really work here. For other characters, that's why we want a hop kick or something similar. So you launch this as well. I can't because I don't have a launcher. I can't electric here. So yeah, this is important. Very, very important. If you want high reward and you have the read, you will get high enough reward. Okay. That's about forward 4, more or less. And then why I think it's such a strong move. But did I forget anything about forward 4, or why do I feel like I'm forgetting something about this move? But yeah, if I do, I'll just talk about it later. Now let's talk about her heat. This right here. This heat is absolutely busted. In my opinion, this is absolutely busted. So what does this heat do? We already know in heat, she has the heat smash. Everyone does. So this heat smash, +6 on block into the stats. So you can refer to me explaining what to do after this, for example, right? Into the stance. It's exactly the same mind game with like 1 frame more. They just have 1 frame more. Very similar mind game. You still can't do much, and you still have to power crush most of the options, right? So yeah, very important that on block you have to know that the mind game is very similar to something like the full crush down forward 4 or the orbital. Very, very similar. So you can refer to that if you want. I won't talk about it now. But the main thing about this the main thing about this heat smash is that whenever it whiffs, it's very, very hard to punish. And the main reason why is because, let me just demonstrate it instead of talking about it, is whenever this whiffs, let's say I make it whiff, hopefully that whiffs. It tracked me, nice. You have to punish it, right? And it's very hard to actually punish this. Because that was a counter, for example, that wasn't a punish. They fly very far, you have to go very close. And the funnest part about this is that they can parry after it. They can parry after it, so let me demonstrate that as well. I did a different input, I need to do a different one. Okay, so the thing is something like this, that should work. So that was a punish. Okay, I was fast enough, right? Let me be a little bit slower. That was also a punish. I'm too fast. You see that parry, right? That parry right there. They can actually parry you if you do something. Too slow. There we go. Let's say. I mean, this is in practice mode, obviously I'm fast, right? But they can actually parry you. It is possible for them to parry you. Let's say you do a forward 4-2 here. Because usually a forward 4-2 would be a good punish for us, right? No, doesn't work. It gets parried, right? And let's say you don't do anything, and you wait a little bit. You see how far they go because of the parry as well. So it's very annoying to punish. Very, very annoying to punish. In general, no matter what, it's very annoying to punish. The way you do punish this is when you do step, you just have to 100% run in immediately. And just press. For me, I can't run in because I have to wave dash into an electric. If I run in, I can't electric anyone, right? So you have to wave dash in and then electric. That's all you have to do against this. With Kaz anyway. Step left, wave dash in, electric. So yeah, and even then sometimes you might mess up, so you have to be careful. You do have to be careful. That's like the main problem about the seed smash. Other than its abysmal tracking, by the way. You have to step this to the left, usually. Usually. But let me just demonstrate the abysmal tracking this has, just very, very quickly. Let me make him punish, block. And let's make him do a heat smash, right? A heat smash. So this move, this heat smash, I cannot step here. In this situation, I cannot step this situation. If I try to sidewalk, it doesn't work. I'm -3, right? What you do here is something very specific. You have to step right. Even though sometimes you have to step left, in this situation you have to step right. It took me labbing this for him to understand why it was tracking me so much, by the way. I had to lab this very, very specifically, that you can't sidewalk, you can't step left, that you have to step right. So this move has abysmal tracking in general. So very, very hard to step it in many situations. Many, many situations. And now let's talk about the other heat moves. Okay, so in heat, there are 3 things you need to look out for. Very, very important. One is the automatic stance. This. So this automatic stance will immediately go into a mix-up, right? Do this into down 4, this kind of stuff, for example. But the biggest thing about the automatic stance, which is the most important thing to figure out, but to know, is that you can't check this. But if you try to check, let's say I try to jab check this, you will get parried. I'm not holding forward. Practice mode issues, basically. So let me just try to demonstrate it. There we go. So usually if you try to check this, you will get parried almost instantly. This is what's gonna happen. Because your basic instinct here is to jab. Right? You try to jab check this. It won't work. It's exactly the same when you're trying to down jab this. Down jab, you just get launched. Jab, you don't get launched, but you just get knocked down. So, yeah, very, very important about this, that if you want to check this, you have to do a mid, a fast mid, and a good fast mid. So for Gaz, it's going to be like a down forward 4. It's not the best, but it's there, right? That's what you have to do. But you still have to be very careful. Because if you do a fast mid, let's say you're reacting to a fast mid, they can just mash a power crush. Very, very easily so as well. You just get hit. So this is just scary in general. If you respect it, you're going to get mixed. If you don't respect it, you're also going to get mixed. So you're just getting mixed in the neutral for free. Okay. So that's about that. But now there are 2 other moves I also mentioned, right? 2 other things. And these 2 are, I think, absolutely busted. I don't know why she has this. So in heat, she has from stance. So this stance, she has this move, down 3 plus 4. Right? And that is a +4, by the way. +4 mid from stance. So imagine something like this. Right? From this, she can do this move. In heat, obviously, only. And let me just demonstrate the properties on this. Just yellow. Just let me demonstrate. This into this, right? And I said that one of the things you want to do here is a jab. Let's say I jab here. What? Oh. Let's say I jab, right? Let's say a down jab. Down jab works. But it's a float, a little bit of a float, right? To be honest, it's better than anything else, but it's gonna be hard to pick this up. You have to be ready for this. But you cannot jab here. As I said, you can either jab or down jab. In heat, you down jab, basically, right? And one more thing, this is a normal hit launcher, right? It's not a counter hit launcher like when the jab whips or whatever. It's a normal hit launcher, +4, by the way, right? And whenever you block this, let's say you block this, you're in -4, and the Azucena player basically is standing right next to you, so it doesn't have that much pushback. And the down forward 1 will check you, forward 4 is gonna check you if you want to step, and whatever, right? Yeah, they might even heat smash after it. So let me showcase that as well. Like this heat smash. Pretty common. right? And you try to step, you get hit. Okay, let me try to step again. Now I didn't get hit. So it's a very, very weird situation. I already talked about the heat smash. That you have to buffer this kind of steps, right? I can't even punish it that time. Flew way too far away. But yeah, you have to basically buffer your side steps. But I already mentioned that after this, she has a forward 4. She does have this. And I already mentioned how busted broken this move is, right? So this is the second most common thing that they do outside of the hit smash. Maybe this is more common. Who knows? So what they do is they do this into this. And now they're smart because they read your side step because you want to avoid the heat smash. Right? I step. I'm dead now, right? And I already mentioned forward 4, they can confirm it. They can confirm it. They don't need to, you know, do anything or use up heat or you confirm the high, not confirm, but risk the high all the time. They can confirm it, they always launch you and just cancel off anything. So this is the second thing that they also like to do. But they don't need to just do this for tracking, by the way, because there's another busted move. So what other thing they can do is this into this. I messed up there. Right, that's the back 2. So this, you try to step. Oh. Nope. Nope. You can't step. So this back 2, I already mentioned back 2, right? Gets upgraded to this in heat. Shelby, hello. And this back 2 suddenly becomes +7 now. +7 goes into stance, into a pure mix-up with stance, right? But the most abysmal thing is that this automatically launches you. It just launches you. And it's not even an automatic tornado, by the way. This looks like it's a tornado, right? Like an instant tornado. It's not. Because you can just do this, not that. Do this, and tornado. So that looks like an instant tornado, but it's not. It's not even an instant tornado. It's just, you know, it just looks like it. And she gets like 120 damage combo of this or something like that. Okay. If she gets to the wall, obviously. Okay. I think that's about it for heat, right? More or less. More or less, I think that's about it. Okay, let me like review some stuff in my head if I forgot anything. I think I talked about most of the stuff that's really important to talk about. Most of the stuff, anyway. I did the 1-2, for example. I didn't mention this. This is just a 10 frame punish. Very plus. Usually you're gonna see something like this. I already mentioned these kind of moves. Your lows and highs get launched. Yeah, I did mention that. Yeah, I did. Like this, for example, I showcased that the lows and highs. Like high locks you down, the low launches you. I didn't mention that. I think most stuff I already mentioned. If I did forget something, I mean, my apologies, but I already say this like most of the time that I can't really cover everything. I really can't cover everything. And they're already complicated enough. Like, for example, this is like 123 minutes now. So yeah, they were pretty damn complicated. But yeah, everyone on YouTube, big thanks for watching. Hopefully it was helpful a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that I talked about, and a lot to remember. But yeah, thanks for watching once again. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Till then.